All right, welcome into the crossover. That right there is NBA veteran Keon Dooling. I'm your boy 10-Day Tony. KD, a lot of things have happened over the last couple of weeks. We didn't do a show last week on Thursday. We're back with a double show this week, Monday and Thursday. But we have our first big trade of the season, Trae Young, heading over to the nation's capital. He's going to be a Washington Wizard. CJ McCollum and Corey Crispert on the way back to Atlanta. Your first thought when you heard that trade?
My first thought was, one, I was happy, right? Trae asked and requested for the trade, and so they accommodated him. I think they just kind of got to that tipping point where they felt it was best to part ways. Obviously, you know, some of the young guys in Atlanta are emerging. Jalen Johnson has been unbelievable. He's, you know, turned himself into a triple-double machine. Just knowing Quinn Snyder and his basketball philosophy, I think he has to have guys that buy into his system. And look, Trae is one of the best offensive players in the league. It's just historically he's always been great offensively on the basketball court, but defensively, right? He just doesn't put enough effort into it. I think he's a smaller guard, so you have to give yourself a little bit holistically more to the game. And I also think it's a benefit for the Wizards to be able to get, you know, a perennial guy who's a max player. Free agency, that the Wizards don't get it done, so they have to kind of build their roster through trades or through the draft. And I think they got somebody who they can kind of get behind and rally behind. But yeah, I think it. You know, I hope it works out for Trae. I definitely think the Hawks get better. They get more flexibility. CJ is a veteran player who can play the combo.
I think
position.
He's had a 50-point game this year.
Man, CJ is a bucket. He's a walking bucket. Always has been a walking bucket. And I think he'll like Quinn Snyder's philosophy, and he brings that veteran presence in the midst of all that youth movement over there. So I like the trade for both teams.
I just felt like Atlanta got to a point with Trae where they were like, you know what, this is not going to work out, right? And like his body's gone through enough throughout the years where they've seen the max ceiling of a Trae Young-led team, what it can do, right? It got to the Eastern Conference champion in a way that nobody thought that they were going to get there, and then ever since then, he's been hurt. They haven't been good. They've started to build pieces around him. The Jaylen Johnson pick was huge. The Dyson Daniels pickup was monster. He's been one of the best players defensively in the league, right? He came out of the Pelicans. Everybody's like, oh, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And now he's been a lockdown defender.
Absolutely.
But you look across the league, and it's like, can you win a championship? Can you get to the Eastern Conference Finals in this day and age with a guard who's basically sub 6 feet, who doesn't play defense and is a ball magnet?
Yeah. It's not really about like the size to me, because if you're good and you can hoop, you can hoop. It's about like how he functions within the team. To me, it just doesn't seem like the guys enjoy playing with him. It didn't seem like he was having fun anymore in Atlanta. And he didn't make any adjustments to his game, right? Statistically, he can go out and get you 20 and 30 and 10 assists. Like, he knows he's good enough where he can go out and get statistics, but does he make winning plays?
He's very much a me player.
Yeah, and that's hard to say, because like a guy who averages a lot of assists, you think they're very unselfish, right? But we don't use that for Russell Westbrook. He's a guy who averaged, you know, double-digit assists, you know, multiple years, but they, you know, the stigma is that he was a selfish player. Some guys just are good enough where they can get their statistics, but do they function in a way that do they make winning plays?
Right.
And I think Trae just didn't give himself enough to the team, especially on the defensive level and also in the leadership capacity.
And in Washington's defense, now they're getting a player who has been an all-star, who has been deep into the playoffs, who couldn't be a face of the franchise like he was in Atlanta, because realistically, who have they had in the last decade that has been really like, all right, this is a mover and a shaker in the NBA where you can sit back and at least get people in the stands, right? Trae will get people in the stands in Washington.
Yeah, and sometimes, man, that change of scenery kind of gives you
revitalizes him.
It does, man. And, you know, it's a fresh start for him. He gets an opportunity to start on the ground level. And you can learn. At some point, you do have to reflect, like, what could you have done better? You know, what areas can I get better in? And you have to hold yourself accountable, especially if you want to be great, especially if you command max salaries. You have to continue to grow. And if not, Washington will still be, you know,
what they've been for the last 25 years, right? Like, has there been, outside of the Gill teams, has there been a good Washington team?
Well, John Wall and Bradley Beal, they had a nice little squad over there. Okay. I don't know if they made a big run. Can we check what the
furthest they went?
Yeah, I know they had some battles with the Celtics in the, you know, early, you know, 2010s.
Yeah.
But they haven't been good recently. And they got some pieces, man. They got some young talent over there. So a fresh start, man. Trae could, really, just find his niche there. And, Chocolate City is a fun place to play.
It's also an interesting piece on the Atlanta side, right? So now what do you open up with that max salary out of the way?
Yeah.
Now you can start looking around and saying, all right, wait a second. Are we in play for Giannis?
Antone, they didn't have to give away any draft capital, right?
Let's put, you know what, Sean, before we do that, let's pull up the graphic that we just had up, which was Luka and Trae Young went for 1 pick.
1 pick.
9 picks between Desmond Bane and Mikal Bridges.
Isn't that
9
something?
first-round picks.
Isn't that something? But, it's all about timing, right?
And what you're worth to a team that's willing to pay.
Yeah, it's about timing. It's the right place. And so if you can get one of those max players, I think we're going to talk about Ja a little later, but if you can get one of those guys who are proven, star in the league without necessarily, having to give up so much draft capital.
Bankrupting your team, basically.
Yeah, so it's a good move for the Hawks. I like the flexibility that they gave themselves. I like CJ because CJ is still a good player right now.
Yeah, and a
CJ's
leader, too.
He's a bucket. He's a bucket. And I think he'll be really good for those young guys. He's a guy who can go out and get buckets. He knows the business side of basketball. He's got leadership qualities and capacities, and he's a dog.
Yeah.
CJ is mean as a rattlesnake.
Oh, I like that. We gotta get a list together of guys in the league that are mean as rattlesnakes, so we can.
It
have
ain't many. You know what I mean? Maybe 1 or 2.
Maybe maybe a couple handful of them. But I like that. But in the situation, what can Atlanta do now? There has become a player available officially. Now let's put up the Sean's tweet. Officially, Ja Morant has the Memphis Grizzlies are exploring options to make a move where Ja Morant is no longer going to be a Memphis Grizzly.
Yeah.
And something that we all kind of saw coming when they switched up the offense, when Mazzulla was the coach, where Ja and him didn't really vibe on what the offense should be, when they kind of stopped going away from what Ja did best to a more equal offense for other players to be able to compete and to be contributors in that system, where now we look at John, it's like, all right, what's the team that can fit his style of play? What's the team that he can reinvent himself, revitalize himself in a way where you talk about it, you get to a new city, you get to an organization, a new program, a new coach, and all of a sudden things start to click, things start to make sense. Can Atlanta be one of those places now in need of a point guard, have space, can trade away some assets? Like all of a sudden, I see the smile on your face.
No, I always thought that like Ja for Trae would be a good swap, right? Give those guys a fresh start. I think Quinn Snyder is a guy who really knows how to connect and develop players, but he also knows how to challenge them and push them. He wasn't able to get through to Trae, all right? Because Trae's defensive effort, let's just keep it 100. He didn't give himself, like when you got Dyson Daniels and you got Jalen Johnson and you got like so much length out there, all you really got to do, man, is just put a little bit of effort into it. And he just never really
It just felt like he saw them and he was like, all right, I'm good. They're going to play defense. I'm not.
Yeah, and that's not how you win. And the point guard usually is the leader of the team. Even if you're not the best player, the point guard has a lot of responsibility of communication, putting guys in the right spot. But more so than anything, man, usually the point guard is the smallest guy on the court. And every point guard that I know that's had success in the league got dog in them. Like they're small, but like you don't really want to fight them. Like they will fight, to the death. Excuse me, a lot of times. And so we'll just have to see what happens. Like obviously it's time for Ja to move on. He's still very talented. He's still young. He's left a lot of money on the table, right? And a lot of times, man, you might think it'll be like this forever for you. But if he doesn't make some tweaks, he might not be a max player anymore. And then guess what? You don't want to have to get humbled in order to humble yourself. Like on the front end, he's got to make some adjustments. He's got the talent. He's got the skill set. He's got to work on his body. He's got to work on understanding the business of basketball. And then he's got a responsibility because, man, we love the way you hoop, Ja.
Right.
We like the way you hoop.
The way you used to, right? Because like he's kind of been unrecognizable from a game standpoint for the last like year and some change.
He's had glimpses.
He's had glimpses, but not what he used to be.
You know what? It's very difficult. Like for a role player, a lot of times, if you're butting heads with the coaches, if you're not sure about your rotations or what a coach needs from you, sometimes we can get lost in the sauce. Nobody talks about it. But when you're a superstar player and there's a philosophy difference of how you play and what you bring to the table, and you have, a proven history of being an all-star and one of the elite players in the league,
Right.
it shows more, and we're watching more. Now, he's done a good job. He hasn't gotten in any trouble off the court.
Right.
Remember, he didn't do anything criminal, at that point, right? He's been cleared of all allegations and things like that. And so now it's just all about hooping. Dog, just go out and hoop. Be you, man. Take advantage of this opportunity. Maximize your brand, maximize the resources and the money that you make, and make an impact, man, because the international players are coming. They're talking about, hey, pause, I didn't mean to say it like that, but I'm just saying, the international players are here. They are here. And it's a responsibility and an obligation for us American players to really roll our sleeves up. At some point, if we don't start making sure that we take care of this game, we'll make it bad and tough on the next generation. These guys need to buy in. They need to leave it all on the court, and they need to die empty on the court with your career. So when you look back on it, it's no woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Right. I gave everything I had.
Leave it all on the court.
The Ja situation is interesting, right? Because you hope that you aren't getting a diminished player from a talent perspective when it comes to the injuries that he sustained, his size, right? He's a thinner, smaller guard. He's about 6'1", and he's not that heavy, right? Like you talk about some of these guys that are built like point guards, but they're built like linebackers that can play, that can get, hit. Trae's not one of those guys. Ja's not one of those guys. And you look at the longevity of their career, Trae's going to be okay because he can shoot. Ja hasn't evolved that part of his game yet where he's been a knockdown shooter.
Right.
He's a three-point shooter. Like he doesn't have that to fall back on. He's very much athletic at the hoop / let me cut, let me get to the bucket. If he can get healthy, right, mentally and physically, he's going to be a problem for a team that maybe can go out and get him like Milwaukee.
Right.
Like the Miami Heat, right? These teams that are searching for that spark.
Yeah.
That are missing it right now.
Yeah.
And if it's Atlanta, if it's whomever, right?
Yeah.
You hope you're not getting a distressed asset because you're going to have to pay a pretty penny to Memphis. Like that's been their face of their franchise for the last 5 years.
Yeah, but with the trends, they're not giving up a lot of draft capital. Sometimes they're just swapping them out to get rid of some of these guys, just to move on and not be held hostage. So that's one part of it. A little bit back to Ja's game. He's slender, but to play a long time in the league, if your name is not LeBron James, usually you're pretty slender.
Sure.
Right? Ja, as far as strength and using his body, man, his lower body is super strong.
Yeah. Yes.
So he knows how to create contact. He knows how to bounce off players. And then this rhythm and this cadence that he has, most people don't have the speed, the rhythm, and the cadence that he has. One thing I know you can become as an NBA player is you can become a better shooter. You can really put the work in.
It's about the work, right?
He really needs to lock in on his craft. He's got to go razor sharp focus. He needs to block out distractions. And he really needs to get with a program and create a team around him that encourages that.
Yeah.
If it's not about ball, it's not about your diet, if it's not about getting more flexible, if it's not about getting stronger, if it's not about getting better, it's not about your brand, he shouldn't be on that right now. He's got to really lock in because it's a really touchy time for him. The perception that people have of him is that he's a headache, right? And I'm telling you, when superstar players start to go like this, man, the league will shit on you. And if he doesn't get it together soon, man, it goes like that. There's been a lot of guys who were considered max players and all-stars, and in the decline, if you're not a good locker room guy, if you're not a hard worker, if you don't bring value to the brand, you will be less valuable. And I don't want to see that for Ja.
It seems like those kind of attributes get snuffed out real quick.
For sure.
When you're not a locker room guy, when you're very much a me guy, when you're not a hard worker, when you're not any of these things, all of a sudden it's easier, even if it's somebody who's a less quality player than you, it's easier for me to go out and get a CJ McCollum who's going to be bought in, who's going to teach my young guys how to be a professional, who's locked in, than a guy who's like, yeah, like I got the skills, but I'm not really interested in what comes with me having these skills of being that team player.
Right.
It feels like those kind of guys end up leaving quicker and getting bounced around the league and then leave the league basically entirely because of those attributes.
Yeah. So I don't want to put Ja in the bad teammate category.
Which I'm not, but I'm just saying from an archetype perspective, like if you are that bad teammate, you don't really have a home somewhere.
Absolutely. I mean, even if you're super, super talented, it's guys who, got buckets. But if they're not a good team guy, it's no use for It's no use for you in the locker room.
Yeah.
It can be toxic.
Yeah, of course. And it's you think of like the name that comes to mind, even though that's not the case and we've seen it, is a Dylan Brooks type, right? Even though we know it seems like everywhere he's gone, he's been a plus to the locker room. But when you have the antics or when you have that kind of when people, that's what they think of you, right? It becomes hard in the court of public opinion to sway people's a thought of you, right? And right now, Ja's in that spot where what's the last thing we heard Ja talk about? Remember when it was like, go ask the coach, go ask the GM. What did they tell you? Did they hear that from me?
Yeah.
That whole back and forth. That's the last thing I remember Ja hearing.
Yeah.
Or me hearing from Ja. Yeah. So he's been very quiet for the last like 2 and some change months. Where, all right, he's gonna get a new change of scenery. Are we gonna get a new version of Ja? Just the way that he carries himself, the way that he speaks to the media.
Yeah. And also, you know what? A lot of times when you're trying to get traded, you do things to get yourself traded. Right? It's not really about the organization anymore. At that point, it's really about, okay, I need a fresh start. Now, do I do it diplomatically and have these conversations and still go out and be a pro?
Or do I light a fire to the place?
Yeah, or do I just say, hey, you know what? No, I can't go tonight. Or, like whatever you do.
Right.
So at some point, it'll catch up with you. Like if you hoop, dog, you getting paid, like just go hoop. Go be great. Go be the best version of yourself. Like, I think Ja is super, super talented. 2 years ago, we thought he was one of the top 5 players in the NBA. And I'm just hoping that he can get back to that because, like American basketball, we need it. We need our guys to go and hoop.
Gut tells you that he gets traded before February 5th, yes or no?
Yes. My gut is telling me that.
What team?
Well, I would love to see him in Miami.
Man, come on, talk to him.
I just think that like we would embrace him so much down here at the crib, his energy and things like that. But one thing about the Miami fan base, they're very educated. So if you're on bullshit, they're gonna call you on that. Like the homie's gonna tell you, like, nah, dog, you gotta be a professional. Like they're not gonna just let you get away with the bullshit. Like you don't need to be talking about no choppers or nothing like that. You need to go out there and you need to hoop. You need to embrace wherever he goes. He needs to have an alpha coach who has a resume, who has a history of developing players and holding players accountable. Because it's doing an injustice to himself. You have to be coached. You got to get out your comfort zone in order to grow. And Ja is so good naturally. There's so many little minutia, detailed things that he could get better at, in particular around shooting, how he deals with the media, his image and his brand. He can like really like come together, right? Especially if there was like you'll be around Alonzo Mourning and Udonis Haslem and Pat Riley and Mickey Arison and you'll have everything here at your fingertips. So I think Miami would be a good fit for him. I still think Atlanta would be a good fit for him.
Yeah.
I really do. They didn't have to give up a lot of draft picks in order to make the deal to get rid of Trae. CJ still has some value, but they don't really have a true point guard on that roster. If they do, you know what I mean? No disrespect to you.
Right. But chances are they don't.
But I think a city like Atlanta would embrace him, and a coach like Quinn Snyder will make you better. And I'm a living testimony of that.
Yeah,
Quinn Snyder, getting with Quinn Snyder, like changed the whole trajectory of my career. Yeah, I would like to see him either in Atlanta or Miami.
An interesting thing you said is getting with a strong alpha coach. Guess what? Every team has a coach. You cannot get away from that. It's either you buy into what that coach is telling you and you see the fruits of it, or you don't, and you've already seen the fruits of what happens when you don't buy in with the coach. And then all of a sudden, you start becoming the guy that has run through a couple different coaches and hasn't really seen eye to eye with every single coach. And then at that point, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
It's probably not the coach.
Yeah.
It's probably you.
It's you. And what's the alternative? You either gonna learn it here or you're gonna be playing in Dubai. You're gonna be playing in EuroLeague. And guess what? Over there, you're gonna get coached.
Right. And they coach differently over there than they do over here.
And so do not minimize your young players. Do not minimize your time in this league. There will be another you coming behind you. Like, maximize who you are because that brand follows you. It really does, man. Like, be present in that moment. Be humble even in your greatness. And just, like, try and, maximize your career at the end of the day.
Wise words from a vet right there. That's what an OG would tell you in the locker room right there. That's what you just. That's OG talk right there.
Or I ask him for the fade. Like, if you're gonna mess your shit up, we might as well get it on out right now. We might as well go on and get to it, dog. Because I ain't gonna let you fail.
You know what? Let's pull up. Talk about a fade.
Speaking of the fade,
let's pull that up real quick. Dennis Schroder and the #1 person in points per game, Luka Doncic, had some words to say to each other throughout the game here. Luka and him kind of hit shoulders. Sacramento's not good, as we know. And then all of a sudden, you come out, Luka kind of gave him that shoulder to the chin. Kind of gave him a little, all right, I got you.
Yeah.
Again, Luka's a big boy.
He is.
Talk about Luka like 6'8".
Yeah, got size on him. And strong body.
Mean as a rattlesnake, too.
I ain't going to say that now.
You're not going to say that?
I'm not going to say Luka is mean. Anybody who does not play defense cannot be mean
as a rattlesnake?
You cannot be mean as a rattlesake and not play defense.
Write that down, Sean. Nobody who can't play defense can be mean as a rattlesnake.
You ain't, no. You might have some, some attributes.
It's a different kind of snake, not a rattlesnake.
No, because defense is all about pride, right? Defense is all about will. Obviously, there's schemes that come along with playing defense.
Right, help you out, right?
But ultimately, you have to want to play defense. And until Luka starts doing that, like, I ain't going to crown his ass.
Well, that's another conversation you got to have another day about Luka.
We'll have that.
Luka versus somebody else, but we're not going to have that conversation today. Schroder went looking for Luka after the game.
Straight like that.
And ended up trying to hit him. Didn't hit him.
You sure? Are you sure?
I don't know. Is there video of it?
I don't know. My daughter always says on the tennis court, like, are you sure when the ball goes out? I like it. I really like it. Here's why I like it. I like it a couple different ways.
Schroder suspended for 3 games, by the way.
So yeah, I don't like that part of it because, like, I never want to see guys lose money. So I don't like the suspension for 3 games. None of us got to see it. A lot of times when you fight on the court, they say, hey, that's a no-no. We don't want another malice in the palace. So for him to go to the back, I like that. That's grown man time.
Right.
I saw a lot of that in my playing career. I saw a lot of guys like
take care of business right there.
Yeah, like wait by the bus or wait at the locker room or run to the locker room or have to knuckle up. I saw that, right? And a lot of times there were no suspensions with that. Those were like, closed door behind, and then you see what it is.
That's grown men taking care of business.
But let me tell you something. If you, from what I've heard, like there was a word that was the B word. There has never been a man who ever called me a B that we didn't fade.
Right.
Being a Florida boy, if you call me a F this or a P that or a B this.
You're catching these.
Like I got to be willing, you know what I mean, to go all the way out. And it's a time and a place for everything. So I like the fact that he went there. The second thing is he was talking greasy about the money, right? That's a very sensitive thing, to somebody who had an offer on the table,
Big time
went
offer.
guts on him and held his nuts and tried to go for a bigger bank and didn't, that's below the belt. I'm all about trash talking from time to time, but if you cross the line or whatever, accountability has to happen.
Money talk across the line?
Money talk.
In that situation, knowing that Schroder had a $100 million contract, didn't do it, right? Didn't sign it, tried to go bigger, ended up not getting it, and then has earned a little bit of money back and forth. But I don't think he's earned $100 million in those years with these mismatched little contracts that he's had.
He ain't gonna really be able to make up that 80 because he was really at the prime. In his prime, that was going to probably be his biggest deal. So, yeah, money talk can make you a little bit sensitive, number one, right? But it usually doesn't escalate to a fight when it's money talk. Everybody knows everybody's salary and all that. I've got called a thousandaire by Shaq before. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, I'm a thousandaire. Like, what's up with the fade? Like, no, you got this, big fella. But I think it was the B. Right. I think it was the B word that really offended him. Number one, on top of like him talking about the money situation, the contract situation, and then two, I think they've played against each other in Germany and like in international play, and like those international games get
hype.
It's competition there. It's real there. So yeah, man, I don't like the fact that he's getting hit for money, but I do like the fact that he stood on business and you know what I mean, straighten it out, because at the end of the day, as a man, all you have is your word, your reputation, and
if somebody calls that out,
if you cross the line with respect, like I'm never gonna say a man shouldn't stand on business.
So Schroder out for 3 games. Luka continues to lead the league in scoring. And the Lakers continue to be one of these teams that it's like they're in the mix right now, but come playoff time, is the old man going to be able to do enough? He's got. Did you see this, by the way? It literally just came out right now. Yahoo had said it. They put a tweet out about it. LeBron's going to wear a 23 patch in honor of his 23 seasons in the NBA. With a silhouette of him throwing up the chalk at at the scorers table to start the games. What do you think about that?
Look, I have no problem with us celebrating our superstars and their accomplishments. Obviously, LeBron is at the end of his career, so he's got to brand it and market himself into this transition. It's different rules for superstar players. LeBron is above a superstar. He's not a superstar.
Here's the patch, by the way. So 23 NBA. But why didn't we do this at the beginning of the year then?
Well,
it wasn't just the 23rd season now on January 12th.
Whose idea was it? The NBA's?
That's the question. LeBron James will wear a special edition 23 season jersey patch beginning tonight in Sacramento, the city where he began his legendary career in 2003. Yeah. The patches will be removed from his jersey after each game, and some will be placed into ultra rare trading cards.
Man, amazing. Do you know how much the game grew on his watch?
Sure, of
like
course.
When he had the keys to this league, the game grew more than when Jordan and Bird took it to, and Magic and those guys took it to another level.
I agree, but what did Magic, Bird, basically Kobe at the beginning of his career, Shaq, Barkley, Kareem, Oscar Robertson, all the greats in the NBA, what did they not have that completely changed everything in LeBron's time with the league?
Well, it's a few things.
The most important thing of all, social media.
Social media, number one, probably.
That's the one thing that we look at, because how big Jordan was global, right? Jordan took the game from an American game to a completely global game where you had to read the newspaper type shit. You had to listen to people on the radio, right? Like you were getting the games on one channel. There was 6 channels to go around, and you had one of them. You had to watch the games. LeBron had the access where, what is it? Let's say it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram really started popping off, what, 2010?
Yeah.
09, 10, 11, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. I was reluctant.
That's LeBron's prime right there. That's the decision.
You know
that's him getting to the Miami Heat.
The cool part about that is that, like, even before all social media and everything, they called him the king.
The chosen one.
And like, he's a guy who was able to transcend the eras. He played in a lot of different eras. Like LeBron's buckets weren't all easy buckets. Like these rules, it's easier for him to go out and get 20 now. Like he used to have to work to go get 25 back in the days. Like it was physical. And a lot of these guys will never understand the physicality of the game schedule that that guys used to pride themselves off of. So I took my hat to LeBron, man, for just having that kind of professionalism for this amount of time.
No, I agree. And like he's a guy that never got in trouble.
Look at the score on that. And that's the Kings, and they played with a fast pace.
That was him 2003 as a young buck, 18 years old.
Unbelievable, man.
Well, just watching him and as I look at it, we talk about, Ooh, I didn't like that one. What happened there?
Yeah. Well,
was that
happens.
AI?
Yeah, no, shit happens. No, he became a better shooter, but it goes back to one of my points that I talked about earlier too. Like when you get in the NBA, you make so many shots, you get so many shots up that you become a better shooter. If you don't become a better shooter in the NBA,
it's because you're not working hard enough.
It's not that you're not working hard enough. It's that you're not listening right. You're only doing it your way. If you're not willing to make tweaks to your release or your how you bring the ball up or getting it into your pocket or watch or get the reps in, because there was some guys, like I played with a guy in Orlando, like he literally shot the ball like that. He wouldn't be a good shooter no matter what.
Of course,
no matter how many reps he put in. That was just some guys have that deficiency, but LeBron put in that work, man, and he's now he's a shooter. He gets more threes and jump shots than to the rim.
Speaking of somebody who's now transitioning to try to be in that LeBron place of the league, right? To be that next face of the league, Victor Wembanyama, who kicked the ball out of the net.
You know what? Who I got to give credit, to for that?
I know exactly who, but tell the people.
Man, his visit to China.
The Shaolin.
I know they had him. I know they had him meditating and visualizing and stretching and breathing and doing all these exercises. Like, man, this kid is just so impressive, man. He's just so impressive. Look at that. Like, he does entertain. I do not entertain. No, he's entertaining. Everything he does is entertaining.
They had a big game against the Celtics, who are streaking. We talked about them last week. Celtics are playing incredible ball.
Yes, they are.
And they had a good matchup on Saturday night between the college football that's been happening, the NFL football that's been happening. It's been a crazy week.
It's been a great time to be a sports fan.
Come on, man.
Yes.
And lost in all of those football games was Spurs versus Celtics, a very good matchup. Spurs end up winning 100-95. And Wembanyama has been taking care of business. JB, who's been one of the hottest players in the NBA from a scoring and defensive perspective, he had a good game. And let's transition over and let's see what JB had to say post that game. They ended up losing by 5, so tight game. But you know how it is.
He just kicked the.
He kicked it. It's insane. It's insane. This is what JB had to say. It's an abridged version, but this is what JB had to say after the game about the refs.
I'm tired of the inconsistency. I'll accept the fine at this point. I thought it was some bullshit. I think they're a good defensive team, but they ain't that damn good. I hope somebody can just pull up the clips because it's the same shit every time we play a good team. They refuse to make a call and call touch fouls on the other end. Just somebody please pull it up. I'm tired of the inconsistency. I'll accept the fine at this point. I thought
you look at somebody of his caliber. You look at somebody with his contract, right? Because usually the guys that aren't on that $300 million contract, a little bit more hesitant to speak out on the refs, knowing that the NBA is going to call and say, hey, by the way, you owe us 50.
Yeah.
You owe us 75. You said some shit that you know you couldn't say.
Yeah.
When you're making that kind of money, fine me. I don't care. What's 50K to me?
Yeah.
What's 50K
No,
to me?
it's awesome because, like, you know, all the things that make us love JB is the same thing that, like, he gets criticized for. Like, that statement wasn't just about him. It was really about his team. And he put himself out there and saying, hey, I'm gonna say this. They can find me.
They can find me, right?
But I'm gonna be the voice in this moment. There's no way that JB should be able to go through a game and not get to the free throw line.
That's crazy. I'm gonna look up the stats right now. Is that the
just
case?
Think about how aggressive he's been. The way that he plays. He's not just a jump shooter. He's a slasher. He's a cutter. And yeah, of course he can shoot the ball. But to not, like, in a league where you can't hand check or touch or use a bent forearm or anything like that, to not get to the free throw line and still have 27 points, yeah, I'm not mad at him for saying what he said.
Can I read you a pretty crazy stat?
Talk to me.
So, in that game, Spurs won 100-95 on Saturday. The Spurs they had 14. They went 14 of 20 from the free throw line, 70%.
How many did the Celtics shoot? How many free throws did they shoot?
Shot 75%. The Celtics shot 75% from the free throw line. Why? They went 3 for 4.
Unbelievable.
3 for 4. And that's between two players. Derek White went 2 for 2, and Keto went 1 for 2.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 3 makes from the free throw line, 4 attempts from the free throw line as an entire team. Jaylen Brown, nothing. Pritchard, nothing. Gonzalez, nothing. Garza, nothing. Simons, nothing.
How many threes did they shoot that game?
They both shot 44 threes.
Okay, so there's a direct correlation between not getting fouled and shooting threes. If you shoot
and settling for threes, right.
If you shoot threes, you lose the opportunity to attack the rim and put pressure on the defense and create the contact.
And force them to foul you, right?
Right. So they have to do a better job of picking their spots with that. But at the same time, you could be running and chewing gum coming down the floor and there's a foul.
Of course.
Like 4 free throws in a game for a team that's that aggressive with that much talent, who's been playing that well. To me, if I go back and look at the film, I could probably point out, at least 5 to 10 fouls.
Castle had more free throw attempts than the entire Celtics team. Johnson had more free throw attempts than the entire Celtics team.
Yep.
And Wemby had as many free throws as the entire Celtics team.
But those guys peeled, like Castle and Johnson, they peeled them ears back and they get downhill. So they're looking for contact. They're very aggressive to get 2 feet in the paint. One of the flaws that the Celtics do have is from a philosophy standpoint, they do believe in a certain amount of 3-pointers.
But that's the Mazzulla way. That's what got them that incredible offense from a couple years ago where they were just blowing teams out. Why? Because they would shoot 63s and make 30 of them, and all of a sudden the math is completely skewed because you got 90 points when you shot 30 and made 33s.
Yeah. I mean, it's a gift and a curse. It's a double-edged sword with that.
Mazzulla, better coach. So I saw this tweet go around, Mazzulla, better coach than Udoka.
I mean, I don't want to compare those two guys just because I think they're both so good.
And different.
They're so good and they're so different. Obviously, Ime is, Ime is the man.
Mean
right?
as a rattlesnake.
Boy.
All right, put it on the list. Put it on the list.
The definition of that. But he's also smooth.
Right. Smooth criminal.
He's smooth. He's tough. He's smart. He's a good communicator.
Super defensive minded too.
He's awesome. But you always have to go with the edge on the guy who has a championship. Even though he was a disciple and he was underneath Ime at first, he got him over the hump. He won a chip.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, like when you get those rings, man, you never minimize that. I won't say who's better or who's worse. I would say that those are two of the best coaches in the NBA, best young coaches in the NBA. I mean, there's OGs like Steve Kerr and Eric Spoelstra and Rick Carlisle, like guys who like have been doing it for years.
Legends, right? Legends.
But these guys, they're the leaders of the new school.
It just feels like Mazzulla's gotten a lot of shit for kind of being the guy who very much like, and I'll bring it to this kind of locally, right? Larry Coker took all of Butch Davis's players, won 32 games in a row to start his career, had the best team in college football history in 2001 Canes. 2002 Canes went undefeated except for the Ohio State game. People were like, yeah, it wasn't Larry Coker though. It was the players, right?
Yeah.
And there's been a bit of an aura around Mazzulla that it's not been Mazzulla. It's been Brad Stevens putting the team together. It's been JT. It's been JB. It's been what they've been able to do. Those players basically being able to roll out the ball and be like, all right, we're better than everybody. And Mazzulla's not getting the credit he deserves because he's a bit of like an eccentric guy, right? He's a bit of a mystery. Like he says things that you're like, coaches don't usually say that, right? And he acts in a way that the normal coach wouldn't act, right? So I feel like he hasn't gotten the credit he deserved for being a very good coach and taking a team in the Celtics who we thought this was going to be a lost season with no JT and has them top 3 in the East. I think at this point they sit at the second seed in the East. I'd have to double check. Let's see real quick. They are the 3rd seed right now, a game behind the Knicks in the win column. So same, they're 25-14 and Boston's 24-14.
Yeah.
They're top 3 in the East.
Yeah, well, I disagree. Sometimes like you have to put work in and things like that. I think a lot of times when you're a guy who played in the league, there's a familiarity with the media and your name and things like that. I think he kind of came out of nowhere. Like a lot of us didn't know who he was. You had to like go back like, oh, okay, he's a Bobby Huggins disciple. I remember him at West Virginia and things like that. But sometimes less is more, right? And I think he's evolved and grown into who he is right now as a coach. And I think him and Ime are like from that same cloth. And they're a little bit different philosophy-wise, but, man, he, for whatever reason, the timing and all the stars aligned where he was able to take that team over the hump, which is something that no coach, not Brad Stevens, not, Ime was able to do.
Right.
So you got to kind of tip your hat to him.
The Celtics and Spurs game was on Saturday night. Then all of a sudden, the Spurs had to get on a flight, head over to Minnesota to play on a Sunday night game, a back-to-back, a doubleheader basically. And then Ant did this with about 15 seconds left, down 3, 24 seconds left in the clock. Victor up top. Excuse me. Let me dance real quick. Oh, in and out. Nice little floater off the glass.
Nice.
104, 103.
Ant-Man.
And I think that ended up.
Out the blocks. Probe, floater. Hey, man, I seen him and Stan Remy work on that quite a bit in the gym. I witnessed it.
And that was a great screen. Is that Julius Randle right there?
Man, that was a great, sometimes they call that the Gortat screen. Usually it's like on a pick and roll and you cut back. But the awareness for him to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to screen my guy.
Right, let me turn over the screen, right?
So that was a very heady play by Jules right there.
And Minnesota's that weird team where you feel like they have the pieces that can end up as a contending team, and they have the last couple of years, but made it to the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago. Have always been kind of a force in the playoffs. But with number 5 at the helm like that and playing the way that he's been playing the last
Would Ja fit there?
Yes.
I don't want to see so. Ant-Man or Ja in Minnesota.
I agree.
Personally. But no, they're a dangerous team. I just think that there's a cap on where they can go. I just don't feel
just
like
because
they're
the conference.
It's not just the confidence because
conference.
The conference.
The conference. That's the cap, right?
Yeah.
If this team was in the East, this would be the best team in the East.
Yeah.
The problem is they're the 6th best team in the West.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're dangerous especially as an underdog. I feel like they're a very dangerous team. I just think they're limited at the point guard position.
Right.
I think DiVincenzo hasn't really.
He's not that guy.
He's not. He's not a playmaker.
He's a good spot shooter. He's a guy who can get a bucket when he needs to, but he's not a facilitator. He's not a number 1 point guard. That's not. I just think that they got deficiencies at the point guard position, and that's not to minimize OG Mike Conley. He's had a run. I played with Mike in Memphis, and he was,
You know,
Mike's
between
been
him and
doing
Zebo,
it since the 2000s.
yeah, he's been doing this.
Right.
But I just think that they're not going to be. They just don't have the point guard play in order to get over the hump in the West.
And that's an interesting thing. Like could Ja fit there, and could Ja be a missing piece for them to contend with some of the best teams in the West, like Oklahoma City, like Denver, like San Antonio? Like, that's an interesting fit. The question is, how much is Minnesota going to give up? How much depth can they give up to match the salaries to get Ja over there?
It'd be tough.
You need your players, right? McDaniels, you need DiVincenzo, you need Randall, you need all these guys. It's
tough. It's tough. I think that team is kind of plateaued.
For sure, 100%. But I just like seeing a great finish like that.
Yeah, I love Ant-Man.
And he didn't settle for the J, right? Like he okay. He didn't bite here. Let me go back. All right, let me finish up top.
Yeah,
like that's. We're gonna have that debate though, because we started
debate.
having. Maybe we'll leave it for tomorrow for next show. But we started having the debate, Ant or Luka.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're not gonna have it today.
Okay.
But we're not gonna have it today. But just so you guys can start thinking of it, because we have our sides.
You know where I'm going with it.
You know where I'm going with it.
I know you. I do. For sure.
All right. This has been The Crossover. Another great episode. Make sure you guys follow us on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Give us a subscribe. Give us some listens. Give us some downloads. We're trying to grow this and build this up, man. And we're having a lot of fun doing it too.
Good job, buddy.
What do you got to tell the people?
Nothing, man. I just, I wish you well. On Monday. We'll be back on Thursday, but on Monday, I'm gonna be throwing up the U.
Come on, we're a week away from the championship game.
I think it's about like 67 players from South Florida that's gonna be in that national championship
between
game.
both teams, yeah.
And I'm excited for it. Yeah, man, it should be fun. I'm excited for the.
If the Canes pull out the W and get that natty on Monday, that Thursday show, we may have to talk a little Canes.
We need to.
We'll have to talk a little Canes. This is a basketball show.
Yeah.
And Canes hoops been playing real well too.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah, Coach Lucas is doing a great job.
Doing a real good job. So we'll weave in a little bit of Canes hoops now that the season is kind of in mid-season form right now.
Gotcha.
We can start talking a little college hoops. But appreciate you, KD, as always, baby.
Always good to see you,
Make sure you guys subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on social media at Keon Dooling at 10 Day Tony. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Peace.